Hey guys, it is September 21st around 3:30 in the afternoon. I just wanted to let everyone know how baby and I are doing and kind of let everyone know what is going on in a little bit of our story of her getting here. She is doing absolutely wonderful. I am as well. It was a fun journey of her getting here. However, we're both doing great. I was due on Friday, July 31st. And on Monday, the 3rd of August, I ended up going in for my 40-week checkup that I thought that I would not have to go to. But she didn't end up coming over the weekend, so I ended up going in, and they had scheduled me to be induced the following Monday on the 10th. On Friday the 7th, my bestie came down to visit and spend a girls' night with me, so we ended up going out for dinner, and we went for sushi. When we were in the middle of dinner, I had a couple of sushi rolls. If you go to certain places, they will do like a pregnancy plate for you, so they don't have anything in it that you can't eat. So that was fun, and it was nice. I had probably about 3 pieces, and all of a sudden my stomach got super, super upset. I just felt like I needed to maybe pass gas or something. Those feelings kept coming and going, and eventually my friend was like, "Are you sure you're not going into labor and those aren't contractions?" I was like, "No." I think when I had my appointment on Monday and I was so upset that she already hadn't made it, I just kind of was determined that she wasn't going to make it. She wasn't going to be there, and I had to go to the hospital to be induced. So I just had my mindset on the 10th. So they kept getting closer together and more intense. It was a balls ache having to drive home. She, of course, was drinking, and because I'm pregnant, so she couldn't drive us home, so I was driving us home. We weren't that far, probably like 10-15 minutes. Got home, kept timing them. Husband got home, and they just kept getting closer and closer together and more intense. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, my husband was like, "I think we just need to go to the hospital." So we went to the hospital. They checked me, and I believe that I was only 2 centimeters dilated. So there had been progression, but it wasn't, I just hadn't dilated very much. The contractions were showing up that they were pretty consistent, and but unfortunately I just wasn't very dilated. They had me walk around for an hour and then come back to the triage room to check me again. She checked me again, and I had dilated another centimeter. They had me do the same thing, and I did not dilate that time. I was still at a 3. So she basically said that she might send me home, even though she didn't really want me to, and she asked me about my water breaking, and I told her that I thought that it might have broken in the afternoon or in that morning, only because I had gone to the restroom. Around 40 weeks, you tend to kind of leak all the time anyway, so I just thought that it was that. But there was a little bit more. Unfortunately, I was wearing black yoga pants, so I couldn't really tell if it was a different color or whatnot. So they had me go for an ultrasound to see if my amniotic fluid was low, and if it was, then they would admit me, because they didn't want me going anywhere just in case, so they could constantly check my temperature and keep monitoring the baby. The amniotic fluid was extremely low, so they admitted me. By the time we got to the room, it was around 11 o'clock in the afternoon. We decided to call my mom and dad to let them know what was going on, and to have them come to the hospital so my mom could help me get through some of the contractions, so Ryan could sleep, because we had no idea how much longer it was going to take, because they checked me again and I still was not dilating. I eventually, I believe around 6 o'clock at night, they ended up giving me some medicine where I could maybe get like an hour's sleep or something like that. I did not get any sleep. It just kind of made me feel a little woozy. It helped me get through the pain for a little bit, but I just didn't fall asleep. So about 9 o'clock at night, they checked me again, and I was 4 centimeters dilated, so it was really, really slow, but they said that they would be willing to give me my epidural, or if I wanted to, I could have my epidural then. And I just thought to myself, it's late, I have been awake well past 24 hours now, I'm just exhausted. If I can just get a couple hours sleep, that would be great. So I ended up getting an epidural, which I had originally thought that I wasn't going to, but oh my gosh, this process was just going so long, and going through as many contractions as I was just so tired, and I couldn't do it. Then so my sisters came to visit, and so that was really nice. And then I kind of they left around midnight, and I slowly started to kind of like fall asleep for a little bit. And then all of a sudden I started having contractions again, and I thought to myself, what the crap? They were insanely intense. So they called in the nurse, and she was like, that's just weird, like, you have an epidural, you shouldn't be able to feel them. I'm like, oh, I'm not making this up. And of course, I'm not looking at the monitor, so I don't know when they're showing up. And I was like, I will tell you when the next one is, and you look at your monitor and tell me if it's really happening or not. And they did that a couple of times, and it was happening. It was just really, really intense. So she checked me, and I believe that I was at 8 centimeters. They were going to call the anesthesiologist in to check everything to make sure that the thing didn't come out of my back, because they move you around so that they could have snagged it and pulled out the top part. Right before he walked in, the monitor started beeping that there was no more fluid in the machine, so I was not getting any pain reliever at all. That was fun. So around, I believe it was 1:30, he came in and gave me a shot of direct stuff, and said that if it does not work, they will come and give me another one in about 15 minutes. So of course it did not work, and they were going to get another bag of the fluid to connect back up. It did not work. So at, that was 1:30, at 2 o'clock in the morning, he finally made it back in to come and give me another one. And that did not end up working. And around 2 o'clock, the lady it was a different nurse, she had checked me to see if the baby was any further down and if I was dilated at all. And she basically was like, oh, no, well, you're at a 9, so you still got a little bit ways to go. And then all of a sudden, I could still feel the contractions. The contractions were still going on. They hadn't come back to give me any more fluid or anything. And I all of a sudden was just like, this kid is coming. Like, I feel like I need to push. I need to push now. So another nurse came in, and she checked me out, and she was like, I don't know what she was talking about. The head's there. Like, she's there. So I was like, okay, crap. So she was like, all right, well, usually first-time moms take around, anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. So let's go ahead and just have you start pushing now on the contractions. So I pushed on the next contraction, and she basically was down there and said, okay, you need to stop. We need to call the doctor. She has to come now. So I made it through 2 more rounds of contractions before the doctor made it without pushing. It was awful. It was awful. And then the doctor got there, and I pushed, I believe, 3 more contractions, and she was out. And it was amazing and beautiful, and I'm so extremely lucky. So the pushing part was actually the easiest about the whole entire labor. It happened super, super fast. I was lucky about that. But honestly, when you're just pushing through those contractions, you don't, like, you almost feel relieved. Like, it's not, it helps so much, and instead of just dealing with the contraction. So that was fun. I did tear pretty bad. So she was down there a while doing some stitches. But after a couple of days, probably after like 3 days, after my first shower even, everything felt a bit better down there. we welcomed baby Lennox is her name, Lennex, at 2:54 in the morning on Sunday the 9th, and she was 8 pounds 2 ounces and 21 1/4 inches long. So yep, that was a bit of our story. So everything is going great now. I would really like to do a hospital bag and things that they give you at the hospital. Just so everyone, I know that there's a lot of those on here already, but just from my experience, and then some of the stuff that I didn't have, but then other people had recommended that I have when I get home. So I'd like to do a video about that as well. But yeah, so we're here. She's 6 weeks old, and I'm not wanting to go back to work, but what new mom is. I also would like to do a video about the first time mommies, things that I do really like, and things that I have found that I don't like, just like bottles and fun stuff like that. But yeah, so, we made it. I am super excited to follow up with some of the people that I have been keeping in touch with to see how all of their stuff is going. And for all of you mommies that are still trying, I am still sending my thoughts and prayers your guys' way. I know that one of my moms was able to adopt, and she actually just adopted a little girl not too long ago, so I'm super excited about that, and I know that she feels super lucky, and I just wish you all the best, and I know that everything will end up working out okay. I know it did for us, so yeah, I will touch base with you guys soon, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!